Shalom Aleichem. Welcome everyone back to the Barkai YouTube channel. I know that we've been very slowly going through Reshit Hachma. I apologize. Baruch Hashem, we actually had a new baby boy recently, so I took some time off from recording things, but God willing, we're back in it. So right now it's Rosh Chodesh Iyar here in Israel. It's a beautiful day, and I wanted to do a little Ben Ish Chai on the Parashat. The Parashat this week is Parashat Kedoshim, and actually it's also the Chilulah, or the yard site, or the anniversary of his death of the Rabbi Haim Vital. And so actually I found a little piece from the Ben Ish Chai that talks about the Parasha that also includes some Torah from Rav Chaim Vital. So we're going to get a little kabbalah going on. We're going to go over a very common commandment, and I think it's going to be good. So let's jump in. So if you go to Vayikra, or Leviticus, chapter 19, verse 17, it says, "Lo tisna et achicha v'lavecha tochiach et amitecha v'lo tisa alav chet." Right, that you shall not hate your brother in your heart, and you shall certainly rebuke him. Rebuke your neighbor, actually. It changes in the words. It's no longer your brother. And you will not suffer sin on his account. This is a very famous commandment, that you should not hate your brother, and that you should also rebuke him. So what's the obvious connection here? A lot of times when you are rebuking someone, you're finding something in them that you don't like, right? And so you can get very angry, and you can yell at them and say, "Why are you doing that?" And that's actually what this is saying, don't do. It says, don't hate your brother, and you should rebuke them. So you have to do it with love. And as we're going to see here from the Ben Ish Chai, there's actually a very deep reason for that. So just so that people know, when we talk about rebuking, we mean like I see another Jew doing something wrong, and I want to teach them the right thing to do. And so there are laws about this, actually. The Rambam brings a whole section on how to rebuke someone, halachically. We're not going to get into that right now, but just a couple high-level things, like you have to do it in a way that doesn't cause the other person pain. You have to do it in a way that you know the other person will accept it. For example, if you know that by rebuking someone, even if you're nice about it, they will not accept it, and they will brush you off, you may have actually broken a commandment there, because we are only supposed to give rebuke when it's going to be done. Or when it's going to be accepted. So that is kind of the main outlines. I encourage you all to go look up the Rambam and see exactly how you should rebuke someone. It'll make you never want to rebuke anybody, but as we can see when we dive inside the Ben Ish Chai here, that it's actually good. For those of you who don't know, the Ben Ish Chai, I was trying to do a little introduction, but he was Rav Yosef Haim of Baghdad. He lived in the late 1800s, early 1900s. This is a colorized picture of him based on a real picture. He never had an official position other than that of what they call darshan, meaning someone who gives drashot, or talks in the synagogue, and he would give it every week, and also he would teach halakha during the days. And other than that, he would learn Torah full time. And he was known as a great mystic, and he wrote probably over 70 books, some of them very long, some of them short. He was a huge Talmid Chacham. And for those of you who don't know who Rabbi Chaim Vital is, Rabbi Chaim Vital, who we're going to bring later, was actually the primary student of the Arizal, who the Ari HaKadosh. He was I guess you could say he was the, not creator, but he was the revealer and the systematizer of Kabbalah as it is that we have now. So if you talk to almost any Mekubal, meaning someone who practices Kabbalah or learns Kabbalah in the world today, they will learn the system of the Arizal. So Rav Chaim Vital was his primary student, and actually almost all the teachings of the Arizal come directly from Rabbi Chaim Vital. We have very little written in the Arizal's own handwriting. It was almost all through his students. So I'm going to go into the Ben Ish Chai now. We're learning from his Sefer Aderet Eliyahu, which was named after his father, who was Eliyahu ben Moshe, rabbi. He was also darshan, I believe, in Baghdad before he was niftar, before he passed away. And so the Ben Ish Chai named this sefer after him. So it says, Yuvan b'siyata d'shmaya lefaresh, meaning, like, we're going to understand, with the help of heaven, we're going to be able to explain, v'nikadim ma shekatav rabbeinu marchu B'Shem Rabbeinu Ha'arizal, meaning we're now going to these points of what was written by Rabbi Chaim Vital in the name of the Arizal. We're going to understand them with the help of heaven, God willing. B'Shar Gilgulim. Shar Gilgulim, just so you know, it's a sefer or book about reincarnation. So the idea in the Arizal is there's a whole set of Sfarim. You learn the basics, and they teach you about the upper worlds and how everything is made and how it all works. And then you learn about all the different mitzvot and the secrets behind the mitzvot. And then you learn about the intentions, the kavanot that you should have while you're praying. And then you learn about the tikkunim, the things you're supposed to do to fix your soul. And eventually you get to once you get all of that done, then you're supposed to discover what your Gilgul is, what your reincarnation is, and who you're connected to, so you can figure out what your actual purpose is in life. All that stuff before then is already a ton of work, so I don't know how anyone ever accomplishes this, but in theory, that's how it works. So, Shar Gilgulim is all about the different, like the nature of the soul and reincarnation and how everything is connected. So he says there in Hakdama Chaf, which is introduction 20, literally, although the whole book is introductions, so I don't understand that. It really is chapters. V'zei lashano, and this is the language. Gamda, also know, ki im nimsau bador acher shtei neshamot. So know also that if you find in a later generation two souls, meshoresh echad, they come from the same shoresh, meaning the same root. There's an idea that Adam Rishon, like Adam, had all the souls contained in him, and after he died, they started splitting, and they split and split and split, and so the souls we have today are like a small portion of what used to belong in Adam Rishon. And they all, you can imagine it like a tree, right? Like you'll have a bunch of things that go up to this point, and then you'll have a bunch of points that go up to the next point, etc. So what Rav Chaim Vital is saying is if two little points down here in our generation share the same root, like the same connection point, he says, B'shnei achim o b'shnei chaverim, meaning two brothers or two friends. Yu shnehem shoniim, and their nature is going to be that the two of them are going to hate each other, and they're going to literally like prosecute each other. That according to this, that they that like it's better that they want to to suckle literally to get sustenance from the same shorish more than his friend. Right, but Haim mekaneim, and they are jealous zelazeh, each one to the other. But tevam bli yadia, in their nature without knowledge, literally, meaning for some reason, like I have this friend, but he and I are always fighting, or I have this neighbor, or I have a brother, and we're always fighting. It's a good indication that maybe you share the same shorish. You may not know what the shorish is, but it's a good indication you share the same shorish. Ta'afagav the nehu lo chazo. And that even though that they don't see, mazalehu hazi, meaning their mazel sees, like the supernal realms know, and it comes out in their nature. Therefore, im yasego ladat beruach hakodesh. So if they will achieve that the knowledge of ruach hakodesh, of the Holy Spirit, it's really kind of like so Shar Ruach hakodesh is one of the books that comes before this, but really like divine inspiration. Ki shnehem shoresh echad. Because the two of them are from the same shoresh, as vadai sheyu ovim zelazeh, then it's for certain that these two have to love each other. If they're constantly fighting, they will never be able to rise to the level where they can actually rectify their neshama and achieve ruach hakodesh. So v'da she'ein ze ela kishnehem b'chaim be'olam hazeh, and know that. Hold on, I want to double check, make sure we're reading this right. What is that? Like that they are in this life. Aval. Okay, here we go. However, okay, I see what they're saying. So he's saying, Shein Zeh Ella, but this is only going to happen if they're living in the same time. Aval, however, Neshamot had tzadikim shekavar mito. However, Neshamot from tzadikim, from holy people that have already died, Haim hushkim v'tavim, meaning they desire and they hunger meod exceedingly l'taken, to fix, v'lehetiv tikun, and to greatly repair, to goodly repair haneshamot asher b'chaim be'olam hazeh, those souls that are in this world. Meaning, if me and another guy share a shoresh, neshama. But that guy has already passed on, and he was a tzaddik. Tzaddikim, we believe, still have influence in this world. He wants to help me out. We're not going to fight. He loves me because he can see the reality of things, right? Otam shehem min hashorosh alehem, and they are from the same shorish. Ki az ein lahem aseh kedei sheyiknau b'chaim. Was it? Because there is nothing more that they can do in order that they will become more complete. So therefore, like, jealousy doesn't really mean anything in this life, right? Lomar, to say shehem rotzim lehashalem yoter mehem, to say that they want to like lehashlim, to help complete more from them. Kemo shemar hakatuv, like it said in Kohelet, ki ein maaseh b'cheshbon, because there is no deed, there is no device, b'shol asher atah cholech shama, in Shaul, like meaning Gehenna, in the place in the grave which you're going to. So he's saying that, like, once we learn from Kohelet that once you've passed away, you can't do any more mitzvot, you can't do any more deeds, even though you still have an influence in this world. You don't get any more reward, and you're not able to fix anything. So there's actually a great story about a chassid who was lying on his deathbed, and he was dying. He was in poor health. He'd been fasting a lot throughout his life. And as he was sitting there, he said, I wish that I could, have one more day of life so I could put on tefillin. And I would trade all the fasting and all the tikkunim and everything I did in order to get one more day. And the people standing around him said, the only reason you can appreciate that is because you did all that fasting and work. But he knew that he was going on to the next world, and he wasn't going to be able to do anything again, like put on tefillin. And so he wouldn't be able to get the reward of that mitzvah. He wouldn't be able to do the unifications in the higher worlds. And so this idea of helping, it seems, this is my own read, it seems like it's a little selfish, right? Like, I want to join together to help this guy because it's going to elevate me as well. And I can't do anything to fix my soul anymore. I just have to kind of encourage him. It's like having a cheerleader. Adrabah. Yesh lahem to'elet gadol b'ma'asim tovim shel chaim, right? Like he says, it's the opposite. It's that they benefit greatly, these souls of tzaddikim that have already passed away, from the deeds which are done by the living, asher min hashorasham, from their shorish, ad kan lashano. And this is the end quote of Rabbi Haim Vital, meaning we are all connected to a shorish. We have many tzaddikim, but our lowly selves are still a part of that shorish that hasn't been rectified. And anything we do, this is really like inspirational if you think about it, anything we do actually brings benefit to the tzaddikim that we're connected to. That's, that's amazing. Like, think about, like, the greatest rabbi you know, and imagine people who are even greater than him that have passed on, and you're connected to them spiritually, and just by doing a single mitzvah, you're elevating them and giving them tremendous benefit. And from this, we're going to be able to understand, remez pasuk lo tisna et achicha belevecha. Right now, we can understand the pasuk, don't hate your brother in your heart. Klomar, meaning to say, Oto Adam Shehu Achicha Mamash. That this guy, he's literally my brother, right? Klomar Shenishamot Shalechem Shnehem Mishorish Echad. Meaning, even if we're not genetically related, even if we don't share the same parents, we literally come from the same spiritual source. So he's literally my brother. Lo teva leshna oto ba'avor shetirtzei ata la'asot ma'asim tovim yoter mimenu. Right? And we say you should not come to hate him, because that you want to do like better deeds than him, like masim tovim, like better good deeds. Like, it's not a competition, right? He's your brother, and literally you're actually kind of spiritually the same being on some level. So to want to be better than him and to put him down and to be negative to him is counterproductive. Because you want to get more shefa, you want to connect greater to the shorish than him. It's almost if like two of you are going for the same thing, you're pushing the other guy away, right? Ela adraba. Rather, it's the opposite. Hochach tochiach et amitecha, right? That you surely will rebuke your neighbor. Hochach tochiach, right? This lashon, the Ben Ish Chai says milashon hazmana, meaning it's a lashon of invitation. Kimo, like we see in Bereshit, it says Ota hochechet la'abdecha liyitzak, This is actually the story when what's his name? Eliezer Eved Avraham, the servant of Avraham, goes to find a wife for Yitzhak, right? And he says, "Let her appoint to this," meaning Rivka, "let her appoint to the servant of Yitzhak." So Rashi, Betargum Onkelos, Yetez Zminata La'avdecha Yitzhak. Onkelos was a translator who's actually a convert in Roman times, who translated the whole Hebrew text into Aramaic. And you see here Zminata, right? Like that's Aramaic for invitation. And also we'll see V'chein kan hu omar hochach tochiach et amitecha. I think the Ben Ish Chai brings it later, but the Rashi, when he translates it into Old French, it's actually a lashon, like a language of choosing. Klomar, tezamin mitzvat u'ma'asim tovim letzorech tikun shorashecha et amitecha yachad b'shaveh, right? That you're going to order the mitzvot and the ma'asim tovim that are required to make a tikkun in your shoresh that you have with this neighbor of yours together. So, meaning you see what the other guy is doing wrong. One of the reasons you have to do it with love is because he's part of you. And 2, you want to listen on a practical level. But 3, like you're also, there's self-interest. You want the shorish neshama of you and him to go up and to be fixed. V'lo tisa alav hate. So that you will not bear sin on account of him. Milashon Chisaron, meaning a language of like a defect, right? Kemo, as we see in a pasuk in Melachim Aleph, V'hayiti ani ubani shlomo chateim, right? That it will be for me and for my son Shlomo, sins. Klomar, v'lo tirtze la'niach elav chasaron. That is to say that he doesn't want to place upon him like a defect. Shetekavesh b'tirtze Bekinetecha imo sheyehu chaser mimecha, right? That you tevakesh, that you will what's the word? A bakasha is like the English word is not coming to me for some reason. It's like a plea, like a request, and that you want that in your jealousy with him. You don't want, or sorry, the negative side is that you would want him to be separate from you. Shelo yichol yanik min hashoresh kamocha, right? So that he can't suckle from the same shorish as you. Ela, rather, tenichnu lianik b'shaveh imecha. Rather, what you should want is that the two of you are able to draw down together the same way. Umakach, sorry. And so what? So what if the two of you are getting the same? It's not a competition. That's what my kids always like to say. It's not a competition. Ma'achar sheshnichem mishorish echad. And after the two of them are from one shoresh, ve'im kain ma'asav. And if so, then his deeds yolelo lecha u'ma'asecha ve'yolelu lo. Then they will benefit both him and the other guy, right? Ve'im kain tazminu tikun ma'asechem shenechem b'shaveh. And if so, then then you will, I guess, then they're ordering this tikkun of these deeds together. They're going to be equal. V'lama tirtzei sheyahu cheser mimecha. And why would you want for the two of you to be separate? Right, separate from him, literally. V'lefi perish Rashi, as Rashi explains, she perish pasak or pasuk ota hochechet la'avdecha liyitzak v'zei lashono lashon hochechet. He says this is boreret, meaning like to like you chose, right? Gam kain tiparesh hokach tochiach lefi ha'amur she'apir, and so too you will explain that tochiach hokach tochiach is that you said ya'an she'yaneket ha'adam min ha'shorosh shelo shelamala, that he's going to yoneket, he's going to suckle. Like this guy is going to suckle from the shorish of him above. Hu al yadei birur nitzutzei hakedusha hashayechem l'shorasho shelamala. That this act is going to be doing a birur. It's going to clarify these sparks of holiness that are shayach, that are related to his shorish above. Shemavorer al yadei ma'asav be'olam, and that the clarification by way of his deeds in this world. Hazeh v'zeh hochach tochiach klomar. And so Tibarer Nitzutze Kedoshim Shayachim L'Shorosh Shechem. So that's what it means. Like when you're giving a guy a rebuke, you're helping him figure out how to do this clarification of these sparks. Et Amitecha Yachad B'Shaveh, that meaning together, right? The Lama Tishna Enu V'Titkana, right? And why would you hate him or be jealous Bo Tichirtzu Tziyeh Hu Chaser Mimecha, and in a way that would make you like separate from him? O Afshar L'Ramos, or alternatively, it's possible to do a remez where we say Amitecha, meaning your neighbor, Im Ha'otiot, V'hamala Gematria, Taf Kuf Mem Vav, meaning if we take this word neighbor and we get the gematria of 546, which is Kiminyan Rosh Tevot Shel Eser Sfirot Shehem, meaning this is equal to the gematria of the first letter of each of the names of the 10 Sfirot. Chaf Chet Bet, which is going to be Keter Chochma Binah, and Chet Gimel Taf, which is going to be Chesed Gevurah Tiferet, and Nun Hey Yud Mem, which is going to be Netzach Chod Yesod, and Malchut Shalim, and if you add all those together, you're going to get 546. So, which makes sense, because now there's also this illusion we just said that we're doing birur on these Nitzutzei Kedusha, on these holy sparks. The whole idea is that we're rectifying these sfirot, right, and in our Shoresh Neshama. So that's alluded to by this gematria. We say, look, even the word your neighbor, we're talking about the 10 sfirot. V'lezeh amar hochach tochiach et amitecha remez le'eser sfirot shenidbarer behem. Right, this is a remez to the 10 sfirot that are having this birur being done on them, this clarification. Ki hagam, because even shehib birur hu b'sheva sfirot, that even the birur that's being done on the 7 sfirot, im kol zeh, with all of this, hine kol sfira b'sfira hi kalula me'eser. Right, in each one of these sfirot, you're going to include 10, meaning in each sfira you have 10 more sub-sfirot, like. And you can continue on down, right? Each sphera always has 10 sphirot in it. So he's saying that even in the higher, like 7 sphirot, if you're doing work there, which is a little kabbalistic, but he's saying even in then you have 10 sphirot. So the remez, the illusion, still works. But tzarek sheyeh habirur b'shleimut kol ha'eser sphirot u'beprate pratut ad ein tachlit. Now, Ben Ish Chai finishes up. He says, "Ubezeh yuvan b'siyata d'shmaya." And in this, we're going to understand with the help of heaven the pasuk in Bamidbar, where it says, Al Ken Yamar B'Sefer Melchamat Hashem, meaning Et Vahev B'Sufa. And all of this is written or said in the Sefer the Wars of God, which is Vahev B'Sufa, which are place names. Vahev, however, has the same gematria as Ahava, meaning love. And B'Sufa, the Ish Chai wants to read as Shebelasof Muchrach Shiyeh Oavim Harbe, meaning that in the end there must be tremendous love. Like our rabbi's blessed memory wrote. So what's he saying? So at the end of the day, he's saying, when we say don't hate your brother, it's because literally the person that you do hate is your brother. And you most likely share the same Shoresh Neshama. And so by hating your brother, you're hating yourself. And you're never going to amount to anything spiritually if you can't get along with him and rebuke him and work together to kind of raise each other up. And so I'm going to leave you with Mashal, with a quick like story at the end, which is that the Baal Shem Tov, who was the founder of Hasidus, and the Hasidic movement, he had a great thing. He had an analogy. He called it the mirror. Meaning, not the Mir Yeshiva where everyone learns. He's saying the mirror. Like you look at a mirror on a wall, and he said if you look at someone and you see something you really hate and can't stand, he said you should realize you're looking at yourself and that you also have that trait. And so I think that fits in very, very well with what we were just explaining here, because I am now looking at someone, I'm seeing my brother, my friend, my neighbor, whoever it is, I see something I can't stand in him, I want to rebuke him. He says, first of all, don't hate him. He's you. But second of all, now you realize that because you and him share the same Shoresh Neshama, you share the same root in your soul, that you also have that defect. And you might have been blind to it before. So you should also look into yourself and figure out, how can I fix this? because that'll help you, it'll help him, it'll bring peace in Am Yisrael. And as we say, like big thing here in Israel, they have to have unity in order to have victory, and that's true. We cannot have the Jewish people were dispersed because we didn't have unity when we were fighting the Romans, and we need to have unity in order to bring Mashiach. So God willing, we'll all be able to put this lesson to work. We'll be able to look at other people, and when we give them rebuke, we do it in a loving way, because we know we're also rebuking ourselves, and we're trying to help everyone to achieve a certain completeness, a certain shlemut, and by doing that, we'll promote unity and bring Mashiach Tzidkenu, our Redeemer, and bring the Geulah, and end all these wars and end all this strife that Jews everywhere are experiencing throughout the world. So Shabbat Shalom. I hope you have an excellent Shabbat and that you enjoy Parashat Kedoshim.